back, Deadites and Ghost Beaters. If you're new to the channel, I am Old Head Gaming, and of course, we are all have our eyes set clearly on the Chapter 28.5 drop with Nicolas Cage coming this Tuesday, and believe it or not, the turnaround for Chapter 29's PTB is right around the corner, because if you look at this tweet here by renowned leaker David, you're going to see that the PTB for Chapter 29 should be dropping on August the 9th, with the chapter itself coming on August the 30th. We're going to get a little bit of time with Nick, and then boom, we're going right into the Chapter 29 push. Now, we've had a lot of time to know that Nick was coming. He's been announced for months now because of the anniversary. And then, of course, we've been heard that this next coming up chapter is going to be, quote-unquote, iconic with a capital I. So I've done some videos about who could be there. We've talked about Five Nights at Freddy's. We've talked about A Quiet Place, but neither one of those I feel like falls into the iconic umbrella. And I feel like there's one franchise we all really want in Dead by Daylight, and that is to complete the unholy triumvirate of Jason Voorhees, Freddy Krueger, and Michael Myers. Now, obviously, two are there, at least some versions of the two. It's not the Robert Englund Freddy, but you know what? We take what we can get. And I think this chapter could be really cool, especially because we're going to start probably seeing the teasers coming, like around, July the 30th to August the 4th, kind of building up to the launch of the PTB. And then, of course, we'll know exactly everything about it. Now, clearly, if you're doing Friday the 13th, some stuff falls into place pretty easily. Obviously, your killer is going to be Jason Voorhees. And, of course, there's a lot of cosmetic options and a lot of choices they can go with. My personal favorite is the look from 7. I still think it is his best look, although there's some really cool ways they can go, even all the way up to Jason X, where you have the more like robotic looking Jason, or Jason Goes to Hell, or a really good look from Freddy versus Jason. Like, there's a lot of really classic looks. Hell, you can even have Baghead Jason if you really, really want to. But I think we're going to get a more classic looking Jason. And then Survivor-wise, we'd probably see the one Survivor who's actually was in 3 movies. And that's Tommy Jarvis, the final boy who always survives. Well, he kind of died in 6, but then they got his heart started again. So he didn't... How do you want to call that? Well, he made it through the movie. Now, Tommy Jarvis has been played by 3 different actors in 3 different movies, and I think most of us don't really talk about Friday the 13th Part 5 very often, so I feel we'll probably get the Tom Matthews version as the survivor of Tommy Jarvis, which is actually what they used his model for in Friday the 13th, the game for the Tommy Jarvis character. Now, I also would really, really like to see a legendary skin for Corey Feldman as well from Friday the 13th Part 4. And of course, we all know Corey Feldman from his iconic 80s and 90s run, and he's been in lots of horror films. He's a horror icon himself. Hell, he was even in Lost Boys. Well, lots of Lost Boys movies now, because like they've made like a million of them. But Corey Feldman has done his time in the horror film and deserves to be part of the game as well. And then the map could be a really cool Camp Crystal Lake map, which I think would be really awesome. And I think it would be a really cool aesthetic. And it's almost too good to be true. Like, I feel like no matter how much we want this Friday the 13th chapter to come to fruition, it just never does. And I think we're going to hear some more, of course, starting July 30th. We'll probably get teases. Leaks could come out before that. I feel like everyone is kind of just pumping the brakes and allowing Nick Cage to drop and enjoy some Nick Cage time, because he is hands down the best survivor I've ever played. By far, most fun. His perks are kind of goofy, and they're never going to be meta, but that's okay. Like, it's okay that an actor that is as unique as Nicolas Cage has unique perks that are just fun to play. His voice lines are amazing. He doesn't stop talking, even in-game, which is really, really cool, and I hope will be the standard moving forward with Survivors, because it makes the play so much more fun. Now, of course, that could set up a lot of different things down the road with Nicolas Cage, and I'd love to hear add some voice lines with him versus, say, Jason Voorhees. He has him against Michael, he has him against Sadako, so there's some really fun play that could go there as well, and Nick Cage seems really interested in expanding his role in the Dead by Daylight universe. Now, speaking of Friday the 13th, Is it a slam dunk to be the Chapter 29? No. There's another major iconic title that could be out there like Alien. And if you look at David's tweet, there was a B, which could mean Candyman. And that would also lead to some really funny not the bees memes with Nick Cage. And there's no way that Friday the 13th wasn't at least chances to be in play for this big chapter, with the fact that the Miller and Cunningham lawsuit has come to a conclusion. We all know who owns what. And maybe this is just the time that we get Jason Voorhees. Or maybe it's not. I think we're going to see a lot of really cool stuff with the licenses. Obviously, Nick Cage kicks it off on Tuesday, and then we should probably have some pretty quick information of what this big iconic chapter is coming on April the 9th for the PTB. Now, let me know in the comments below. Who do you think it is? Do you think it's Candyman? Do you think it's Jason? Do you think it's the Xenomorph? Like, what are we looking at? But I think it'd be really awesome if it is Friday the 13th, because I feel like that is just a gaping hole in the community's heart that just needs to be filled. Like, if we're not getting Stranger Things back, at least give us Friday, right? Right? I want to hear your thoughts as always. Thanks for watching, and later, mates.